What is up, dreamers? It is Motivation Monday, and here we are again with the hot topic to talk about in the world of dreams, in the world of goal setting and achieving your dreams. What we're talking about today is learning how to stop being available for Dreamkillers in 6 steps. And it's easy to say, and I think, a lot of people just like, that's right, if they ain't supporting you, let them go, drop it. In fact, we kind of talked about that last week. We kind of hit on that, but that's not exactly what I'm saying today. And it can be a little complicated, so let me explain exactly what it is that I mean when I say that. So this is not about cutting people off just because they don't get it. Family and friends can be supportive and loving in a way that is not always well received. Sometimes they just do not understand what you're doing, and they think it's the best thing for you if they tell you that what you're doing is stupid, it's not a good idea. They call themselves trying to spare you from either being hurt or being let down or being disappointed, and you can't allow that to bother you. But at the same time, don't think it's about hate. It's not always about them hating on you, or they don't like you, or they don't want you to succeed. It's just that they don't understand. Your Aunt Jackie might not understand why you're trying to make a mobile nail salon. She might not understand that. She might not get that concept, and so she's going to tell you it's a bad idea, but that's what you want, and so go after it. This is not about turning your back on people. So this isn't about becoming too big for your britches, or getting too good for people. Your head is real big and now people can hardly speak to you. That's not what we're talking about either. So in fact, I was listening to Lisa Nichols speak just a week or so ago, and she was saying, make it so that the people around you grow as well. And that doesn't mean that they're always going to latch on immediately to what you're saying. That's not what she was saying either. She was just saying, it's okay to plant seeds along the journey. We were talking about last week, your tribe will come, but you have to be willing to go along. That's the biggest concept. That's the key concept behind that. But you also have to, be open-hearted and be open-minded and realize that, everybody is not on the same journey that you are. And if you see potential in the people around you and they're not letting on, plant those seeds, buy them a book, shoot some videos at them or something. You know what I'm saying? Just give them the things that have been helping you, invested in them as well. Sow that seed into them as well. So, and that's one way to make sure, or not to make sure, but to possibly, grow your tribe with you. And this is also not about not having fun and enjoying yourself. There's people you love to hang around, and they are not necessarily on the exact same path that you're on, but you guys have fun together, you guys have fun kicking it together. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. This is not about like shutting people out. We're talking about real dream killers, and we know who those people are. These are people who are like people, and not just people, but also situations and things and decisions that we make that are detrimental to our lives. You know what I'm saying? That are like detrimental that don't create a conducive environment for us to grow in. And we know who they are. That's not real complicated. We know who they are. Once we've kind of set aside, we ain't talking about family who mean well but don't say it too well. We're talking about people who really do not mean you any good, or situations who do not mean you well. So again, we're talking about stop being available for dream killers in 6 steps. First step is to give notice. So that means letting people know that your availability is changing. You got stuff to do and you're putting your dream first. That means that your time is going to be different now. So you're not going to be available for those things. You don't have the free time or the idle time that you would have in the past, because now you have to work on developing your dream. That's going to be hard to do. I mean, that it will. And for one, because it might mean, maybe you take naps at 3 o'clock every day. Well, you might not, you can't do that now necessarily, depending on what it is that you're going after. Maybe now you need to use 3 o'clock to educate yourself, take some classes, or plan, schedule. You know what I'm saying? So your availability is going to change, and that might cause some conflict with people who would normally have that time, your time, to hang with you, or whatever it is that you guys did to spend time together. It might cause some conflict, and you have to be okay with that. And again, this is not about cutting people off or anything like that. It's just about, you do love them, you do care, so you're letting them know, like, look, I'm not available on Sunday evenings the way that I used to be. I'm using that time to plan my next blog post, or schedule my social media posts, or whatever it is that you're working on. Just let people know. And also assess your own standards. What standards have you set for yourself? What things, situations, and decisions are you allowing in your own life? What's shaping your life the most right now? So if you assess your life, if you can take a step back and look at your life and say, okay, I'm not entirely happy with where my life is right now. So think about what decisions and what thoughts did you have, what decisions did you make that manifested the life that you're living right now, if you're not completely satisfied with it. And that means that, you're going to have to change something, and that's fine. That's okay. It's okay if it causes conflict. It's okay if it's a little uncomfortable right now, because it's going to pay off in the long run. The third thing is to stick to it. Once you make the decision that, hey, I'm not going to allow my dream to be smothered or smushed or pushed to the side anymore. I'm making a change right now. You have to stick to it. And it's a lot easier said than done. And I mean, everybody can probably attest to that. It just feels easier, or it feels familiar sometimes, to kind of go back into the old way of doing things, or go back into the old way of feeling or believing. And a good example is actually this morning I was talking to a good friend of mine, and we were talking about budgets and how they make you feel restrained, or like there's some kind of constraint on your life and on your money. And even though you've got everything planned out and everything's taken care of, and you look and like, okay, oh my God, I only have this much to spend until my next paycheck. Well, if we're getting into the mindset of wealth building, or the mindset of saving and not spending every dime that we have, then we can be uncomfortable for a little while to make things better for us in the long run, or to get into a mindset shift so that budgeting is just a normal part of what we do. But it's so much more familiar just to be like, hey, this is my check, I'm just spending until I ain't got no more. And then 3 days out from payday, you're like, oh my God, I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get away from that. It's not what we want for ourselves. So even though it feels familiar to fall back into that, we don't. And set new standards for yourself and stick to them and live by them. Set your own standards and live by those standards. The next thing to do, step 4, is to take action steps. And what taking action steps do, what that does is it keeps your mind focused on things that build your dream, and it keeps your mind off of things that tear down your dream. And that's really, really important, especially when it comes to developing that laser focus that you need to stay committed to your dream. It's really important that you're doing things that are aligned with your ultimate goal. Some stuff you can do, just carve out time to plan. I think I mentioned a few minutes ago, Sunday evenings, if you're starting a blog, it's something that you want to do. Okay, take Sunday evenings and you dedicate Sunday evenings to planning your blog post for the next week, or planning your social media post schedule for the next week. Educate yourself. Like we talked about on my last video, last Monday, we talked about, there's so many ways to educate yourself about things these days. Like, there's YouTube, there's Periscope. People are always giving like loads of great information on Periscope all the time. They send me a notification, and depending on who it is, certain people, I know that what they're going to be talking about is going to be gold. So I hop on. I don't care what I'm doing, from cooking, I'm hopping on, because I want to hear what they're saying, and I always get something from it. And that's another way to educate yourself. There's lots and lots of free and cheap online courses and classes that experts are offering. There's webinars, there's workshops, there's just a million ways to educate yourself. And it's, again, a way to keep your mind on things that are aligned with your dream. You can also, join groups and stuff that are conducive to your new goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, join, for instance, I want to get into public speaking. That's something that I, ultimately want to do as part of the Dreamers League thing I have going on right now. And so I found out that there is a Toastmasters available for a pretty nominal fee, and I can join it and get the keys that I need to become a public speaker. And that's gold to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's I think it's really important. And another thing Lisa Nichols talked about was, going and being around things and people that are where you want to be. So that's where I want to be. These people know about public speaking. A lot of them have already done it. They're going through the process. I'm just starting. I just got the idea. You know what I'm saying? So that means that I need to align myself with people who are doing that. I can't just, be around the same people doing the same things all the time. I have to be willing to kind of put myself out there. And it's not even something that I would typically do. Like, public speaking is something that had petrified me the majority of my life. But because of the calling I know that is on my life, public speaking is going to have to be a part of that. And I know I'll have to develop that skill. So I'm going to be around people that are also like-minded, in that area, and go after it. Also, don't beat yourself up. That's step number 5. And I was watching Steve Harvey a while back, and one of the things he said was, he had, I think his uncle or someone told him, the best thing you can do for poor people is to not be one of them. And you can replace poor people with like any negative adjective that you want to. A lot of us have the feeling that we want to help the people who are around us, or we feel like we don't want to leave them behind, or and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. This isn't about leaving people behind. This is about knowing where you're going, and ultimately knowing where you're going and reaching that destination is going to allow you to help them much more than you could if you were still with them. You understand what I'm saying? That goes for, it's reminding me of a past relationship of mine, but it can go for any situation or relationship that is not conducive to your dream right now. Realize that working towards your dream and building your future requires some uneasiness. It's not always an easy decision to make. It sounds easy. It sounds, hey, if they, they're not doing what I want them to do, or they ain't up, down for what I'm doing, or they ain't supporting me, whatever, forget them. It sounds a lot easier. It's a lot easier said than done, especially when you are a genuine person and you really care about the people around you. But making hard decisions is part of life, is a part of growth, it's a part of the journey towards your destination. And it's just something you're going to have to get used to doing. So, start now. Start right now. Make a decision that your dream comes first. And, everything else has to fall in line. It has to be built around that, and not your dream, working around the other things in your life. The 6th step is to stay humble. That I think, is probably most important of all of this, because you can't even really get the other part of it. You can't really understand it and really grasp it, I don't think, unless you have a certain amount of humbleness. And just remember that this is always bigger than you. And this isn't about a particular religion or a particular belief system or any of that, but it's always bigger than you. Your dream is bigger than you. The dream that you have is not by accident. It's not by happenstance. It's not by chance. You have that dream because the universe, God, needs you to have that dream. And, realize that the people around you are just as capable. They are just as capable. They are just as destined for greatness as you are. It's just that you heard your calling and you made the decision to prioritize your dream and not just daydream about it, not just sit around and think about it. You made the decision to take action steps. But that doesn't make you any better or any less than anybody else. It just means that it just makes you a dreamer. And being a dreamer just means that you're destined for greatness. But I believe everybody is destined for greatness. So keep those 6 steps in mind. Of course, as always, in the comments, leave me a comment about this video. How does it make you feel? Are you currently going through this? Have you been through this? Was it hard for you? Was it easy? What are some things that made it easier? Of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel for updates every week, and I will see you next Monday, dreamers. Bye. Hey dreamers, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Visit me online at www.thedreamersleague.com and check below the video to find out where you can dream, visualize, and manifest with me everywhere on social media.